Let's go. Now we're starting this one with a frog base, which is not the reason I picked green. You know, for a dragon like this, usually I pick something like gray, you know, like rock. But well, let's just say in this case it's an inactive volcano. And that's full of greenery. It's totally not so you can see it better. Okay. Now yet again we need both diagonals. Just like last time. But that's due to the different base. Now the frog base is optimal for this kind of thing because you get 4 large limbs and 4 small ones. If you don't hide them like you would in a frog. There we go. Now the usual, if you don't know what a frog base is, well, up until here it's very similar to the bird base, but now instead of just folding this up, we squash this down. Like this. And that's only half of it. Now I don't pull these lines all the way through, just arbitrarily like half the way, like up until this imaginary diagonal here. And now we bring these to the center just like we would in a bird base. And leave a little gap, just a tiny little gap to the center, because unlike last time, this time the layers will get in each other's way a little bit. And now this little part here, this corner, will form the legs. Or these corners will form the legs, not this one. This one will only be one leg. Now, just do that 4 times for now. Just fold this down as well. Now, one thing about me, I never use box pleating for any of my models. Now, usually when people design big dragons with many limbs or whatever kind of complicated model, they'll resort to box pleating because it's just simple and makes everything achievable. But you probably also heard of Robert J. Lang, and that's the kind of style I like. He even made this program, the Tree Maker, that designs the crease pattern for your proportions of really your choosing, if you know how to work the program. It's not even that easy, but he used it, for example, for his deer, and his deer is amazing. In fact, pretty much all of Robert J. Lang's models are amazing, and I even used his mathematical work in my thesis. There we go. Almost done with the preparations. Most difficult part is probably just leaving this slight little gap to the center here. I always feel like it's easier to just be exact than to be almost exact. There we go. One more to go. By the way, right after this comes, well, I guess the most annoying part of this, which is a sink fold of this tip It was easy last time, because it was the bird base and the tip only had a couple little creases in it. Now it has a lot of them. And I never even bother trying to reverse every single crease's direction. I just kind of force the paper into shape. And there we go. Now the bird base is the frog base is done. As you can see, we have 4 long limbs and these 4. Now it's 3. I can't find the 4th. 4 small ones. Here, there it is. Fold them all down. That's where we need them. Now for the sink fold, yeah, just try to press these layers together here. Make sure they're all aligned. Fold the tip into the center, onto the center, whatever. Be careful here. You don't want these layers to bunch up, which is also why you press them together very tightly. Now, fold this tight. And yeah, at this point it's probably best to try to go the other direction, but for that we first need to flatten this. Otherwise it will bunch up and it will get ugly. Alright, now just really try to bend this the other way before you fold it the other way. Because this crease has never really been creased, it's just been bent. And bends try to keep their shape. There we go. Alright. Now for the sink fold, well, this is the tricky part, or the kind of messy part, I guess. We open this up, and I always go around this octagon that we've created here. Of course, I support it from the inside with my fingers. I try to just crease these the right way. Oh boy. Now for the inside, all the creases that go to the center are the wrong way around. And folding all of those the other way would take forever. So yeah, I kind of just force them. I just press tip inside. And I utilize that I have the outside creases and that they will just come together if I close the model up like this. Alright, now let's watch the tip. We don't want it to look messy in the inside, because it's also going to be visible from the outside. It's just this area here. And to be honest, it's not even going to be that visible, but just in case. There. Now this part got a little messy. It's hard to avoid. We would basically have to fold the whole thing the other way in the middle, and that's just not practical. So now we fold. Well, let's fold these up first. The big limbs up. Just going all the way around, opening and closing the model as we need. And there we go. Now we can try to fold the further and the uppermost layers in half. And as we do that, as you can see here, the rest is supposed to lie flat. So these little triangles here will pop out in a way. You have to kind of pull them into shape. Make sure that you watch these corners. And just kind of press and pull. And don't fold too far, because that way you're kind of pulling on everything a little too much. It's probably going to be like this, where it goes almost all the way to this line, but not entirely. And that's just fine. Now do this on every of the big limbs. You could do it like here, on top of a leg. Don't do that. So here, flat. Do the next one on the exact opposite side. Pay attention to these triangles. They are what decide how big it gets. And there we go. That's two of them. A little unclean, but well, what you gonna do? Now split it the other way. And last two. Again, make sure that you don't have a leg here. You don't have this. Here it starts to get a little thick. But the good thing about this model is that these layers just lie next to each other. They don't really bunch up inside and around each other. So even though it does get a little thick, it all works out. Now, these are too thick, so we're going to make them thinner. And that's quite simple. We just fold them in half like this. And you can leave a little gap again. Since we have this part, it's also going to be hard to fold them all the way to the center in the first place, but that's just fine. Now this is a pre-crease. Now we sync fold it again. For that, we have this triangle here. We need to fold this uppermost layer, this uppermost line of the triangle, and then we can just sink it in. There's this little part here that's a little annoying. Fold it down like this. There it is. I'm going to do it again, just so you can see again, because it's a little tricky. Again, folding almost all the way to the center. Now opening this up, helping from the inside. Then here, between these two, form a straight line, just like this. Inverse this crease, and now just push this a little bit. And it all just should kind of fall into place, really, if you carefully close the model here. This is flat, so this is what decides how far this is supposed to go out. You could run into the issue that it comes out too far here and then it kind of messes up your layers. But then again, just be careful. Make sure it's all aligned, and do it again. You'll figure it out. Then other side, same thing. We're going to do this 4 times. No, there we go. Which is also why this takes a little longer. Just got to do everything so many times. There we go. Now trivia, why did I make this in the first place? Well, my best friend, who also requested that I do this video next, really likes volcanoes and I really like dragons, so yeah, it was the next logical step that I made. The culmination, the perfect natural being that is a dragon and a volcano at the same time. Now sometime in the future I might make a ninja version of this, but that will be very hard. Not that I couldn't do it, I'm just too lazy. Sorry. Alright, half of it is done. In fact, we can fold these down. And same thing again on these. Might have to pull a little. In general, you gotta pull a lot in these. Something that's very underrated in paper folding. It's not just pushing the paper to where you want it to go. There's a lot of pulling so you get to the maximum distance between 2 points. It's very mathematical in a way, but it's more intuitive than the algebra that most people associate with mathematics. Then again, there are styles that don't really utilize this. Styles where you just go arbitrary distances in every direction, and in the end you get a very organic model. And you don't even have to use straight creases. Well, there. Last time. Up, center, well, almost center. Oh, this one is a little annoying. There we go. You can probably see I'm quite careful, because this is not the best kind of paper. And it also likes to play with my feelings. Well, at times it just does something it's not supposed to, I guess. Boy, like this. Exactly like this. Okay. There we go. That's all 8 limbs. Well, actually it's just the 4 legs formed. And now for the volcano, we just need to bring these corners in. And that's quite simple. We open the legs from here. And just squash this down. Carefully, carefully. Make sure the layers don't deck up on the inside. There. Nice and easy. And now we just close it back up. And it's all next to each other, or supposedly all next to each other. And even though it does get thick, it should all fit nicely and not give you any more trouble. Let's say that. Now again, squash it down carefully. Maybe help from the inside. There. And close it. 2 more times. Open the leg. And there we go. Almost done. Don't forget to close it again. Well, it doesn't really matter right now, but it's gonna matter later. So, think of the future. And there we go. That's our volcano here. And now let's get into shaping again. Your creativity plays a huge role in this. I don't want to tell you you have to do it exactly like this because this is my model and whatever. No. First, let's decide that these are going to be the wings. Folding them up right now. And the other 2 big things are going to be the head and the tail. Now to shape those, it's basically the same as with the crane. First I'm going to fold them forward. It goes pretty smoothly, quite automatically, because of the layers and their structure. So I just hold it together, I bring it up, and it just falls into place perfectly. Straight line. I don't really have to do anything else. Now, you know how I like to make my wings. I start with a little shoulder. In this case, I bring it up a little bit. So I have this corner here. This again is going to be creased like this. And my shoulder is supposed to go up until here, this time using this triangle. So I'm just folding this up a little. Now I'm limiting the wings movements. So I'm just gonna fold a line back down here. And now it looks like this. And then again, fold the wing whatever way you like. I'm just going to fold it like this, bring the center here to this other point, and then folding it in half again. Or actually, folding the center to this point. I suppose it looks a little better. Or not, whatever. And gonna do the other one off cam again. Now for the legs, I like to do the front legs. Let's say this is the front because I made the shoulder here, right? The front legs, I bring them a little further to the front, so just reverse fold them like this. Whoop. Getting a bit thick here. And then I only fold a small part here in the front down. And if you have bigger paper, or if you are like intricate work, you can like work on a foot here or something, or make it thicker. This is just the most basic shape. I sometimes like to make this leg a little more straight here by reducing the width, but that's up to you. Now, back side, I fold it down a little bit, like not all the way back, like here, but pretty much all the way to the front, a bit more downward, and then back forward a lot further, and then I just kind of fold it into shape by just nudging where everything goes. I start softly so I can finish the creases later. always have issues with picking which one of these two words I want to use. Okay, but yeah, again, your creativity, your model, fold it whichever way you like. Now these little corners here are going to disappear. Firstly though, we want to make this limb even thinner. So we're opening this up a little, folding this in half. The layers, again, they will get into each other's way a little, so leave a little gap. Now we've just doubled this corner here. Now we're going to make it disappear. Just fold it to the inside. Whoop. Maybe even a little further. There. It's not an exact science, just do what must be done. Other side. Open it up a little, fold it to the center, leave a little gap. Now fold this towards this corner, and then we make the corner disappear on the inside. There. And here we didn't fold the wing yet, but well. Same thing on the tail side. Tail's really straightforward. You could even leave these corners in, because they're just extra little details that don't really, well, make much of a difference for the visual impact. But for people who like to focus on these details, it could be nice to just make sure they don't stand out as much in this particular area. Then again, it does interact with the wing, you know. Actually it doesn't. I lied. The wing has its own little corner here. So, yeah. You can fold them to the inside, you can not fold them to the inside, whatever. This one's not lying flat. There. But yeah, if you don't fold them to the inside here, barely anyone's gonna notice, so whatever. And now, last part I'm gonna show you, because this is getting quite long, is the head. Now I'd like to make this a little bigger again. Like last time I made it a little smaller, because that gives the dragon a feel of being much larger than it actually is. In this case, I go with a little bit of a larger head. And yeah, maybe I'll pull this crease to the outside again. So I just reach inside, turn it around. I don't really care about how well it fits yet. And then I just push. And it somehow creates a head shape. There we go. And now, again, your creativity, you fold the head whatever way you like. I'm just gonna fold it to the inside here. Quite far. Gives a little bit of a more blocky head. And then I can fold it back around to create a little mouth. And here it really shows how messy I've been. Okay. Oh yeah. I'm going to work this off camera a little bit more, but then, again, that's the model. See you next time.